Welcome back to the We Attitude podcast. I'm here today with Dawn Krause, who certainly exemplify this kind of attitude with the journey that you've had in real estate. I've known you for a long time now.
Long time.
Like 2010-ish, I think.
2009 is when I came to KW.
Okay. All right. So wow, that's a long time.
Yep.
Okay. So, let's start same place I start with everybody. Just give us a quick rundown of, where you are today, how long you've been in real estate, what got you in real estate, maybe like just kind of a quick bio, if you will.
Okay. So I've been in real estate for 25 years. This was a second profession for me. So my previous life, I was a therapist. So I was going to save the world and started doing it, loved it. And
that wasn't much of a transition.
No, it was not. It was. So why the transition was a little bit different, but not what I do day to day.
Okay.
So I loved what I did helping people. Yeah. I did not love the hours and the pay that came in being a therapist. So several life events happened, and the biggest one that moved me into real estate was I had a 14-month-old and was going to try for one more, and then all of a sudden God said, ha, 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 let there be twins. And realized that I was going to have 3 babies in under 2 years. And after I cried for 2 straight months, and they were not tears of joy, they were tears of, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Mm-hmm. My husband had said, why don't you get your real estate license? You're really good with people. If you sell 1 house a month, we'll be fine. So I was supposed to be on bed rest with the twins, pregnant out to here, and instead sat in real estate school, got my license, and just started going. Never had any intention of building a big real estate business. It was really just out of necessity.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started. I was with a traditional brokerage for 8 years, and then January of 2009 came to Keller Williams, so 17 years ago.
Wow.
Yes. And had a big team here in St. Louis at the time. And within a year, so 2010 is when I got into market center leadership. Okay. So been in leadership for 16 years. And that journey has been one, speaking of the we attitude, it is 100% all about the we approach to life. That took me not only from just getting into real estate, building a team, but then also moving really into leadership, much beyond just the team structure. So I'm an investor in 3 KW offices. I launched 2 of them. One I launched 15 years ago with an incredible group, and another one I launched 6 years ago with a wonderful team over in O'Fallon, Illinois. And still in leadership in both of those market centers, and blessed to continue to get to stretch myself every day with incredible partners. Then in addition to market center leadership, I moved into, so I've done regional leadership, and also now I was the head of growth for Livian, which was a platform that was owned by Keller Williams. I did that for 3 years. And then Place purchased Livian about 1.5 years ago and moved into leadership with Place. So that is my...
I'm tired.
That is my quick 25 years.
Right now. Since you skipped it, I won't do it. So all right. So let's just back up a little bit. So you joined Keller Williams in 2009, you said?
2009.
All right.
Yes.
So what was your business at the time? Like what did that look like?
The structure?
Yeah, the structure. Like,
yes.
I know you were well past the 1 deal a month. So, but what was the structure? How were things?
Why I moved to KW. Okay. So I was with a company called Prudential Select Properties, which is now Berkshire. Mm-hmm. There were 5 offices here in St. Louis, and I was the number 2 agent in that company. And so I was really, really comfortable. Yeah. And I had a team, which I would now in retrospect say was a hot mess. However, That's how many people start teams, is just like bring on warm bodies out of necessity. Yeah. And there was this team leader at Keller Williams that kept calling me. And I finally said, I will meet with you if you will stop calling me. Yeah. So that's how it started. And she introduced me to the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. Uh-huh. And I started coming to KW trainings. I went to Mega Camp and went, wow, there actually is a more structured way that I could be building this business. Mm-hmm. So that is what actually made me move to KW, was that there was a model and a system in place on how to do what I had been haphazardly. I've been having success with no intentionality around it. So then thought, gosh, what could it look like if I actually had the structure?
So you were working really hard to be successful.
Correct.
And then joining Keller Williams gave you more of a structured environment to then work more like smart, like more intelligently, or more with a purpose, I would say. Is that fair?
It really, David, what I did was I got much more intentional about moving from having a job to being a business owner.
Yeah.
And if one is going to be, if one makes the choice to be a business owner, one is making the choice to not rely solely on being a doer.
Right.
Moving towards being a leader.
Yeah.
In order to be a leader, one has to really grow those leadership skills if we want to succeed in partnering with the right people and succeeding through them.
So at the time once you see the model, or once you see a path, and then you realize, all right, well, now I have to grow. Yeah. What are some of the things you tackled first, and how did you feel about having to do that? Were you like, yeah, this is awesome, I get to be uncomfortable for a while? Were you like, holy shit, I have to do this?
Right.
What like, walk me through that thought process.
Okay. So I quickly realized that the best place that I could be was the dumbest person in the room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it.
So sometimes people want to be the smartest because that feeds their ego. However, it actually keeps them in a limited place from a growth standpoint. So I was very intentional around, I went to so many trainings. I've almost lost track of how many times I've been to the Leverage series and all of the trainings around that. And I do say one of the greatest gifts that Keller Williams ever gave me was called Recruit Select, and now the Leverage series, career visioning, because it's all about how to get in business with the right people and then how to succeed through them. Yeah. So that comes with getting uncomfortable because it's learning new. And then I was very intentional around looking to be in relationship with people that I knew could stretch me. And some of the best leaders I've ever had over the last 17 years are the ones that really kicked my ass. Yeah. Like big time. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for it.
For sure. So you said prior to real estate, you were a therapist.
Yes.
What skills that did you learn or did you have in that world that have translated to this world?
I love that you just asked that question. When I am doing, so I'll answer it. And when I am doing recruit appointments, which by the way, now after basically being a different version of a recruiter for the last 16 years, I've done probably close to about 7,000 recruit appointments. Yeah. And one of the things I'm very purposeful in asking in every one of them as I'm getting to know someone is, what did you do before real estate? Right. And I always ask that question because there are so many potentially transferable skills and characteristics and trends that we see. And so many people just go, David, what's your business? Yeah. Yet, could someone's previous world translate into more success if they had the right people in their world, had the right we's around them? Yeah. So what skill set? So empathy, question asking, listening, mirror and matching, and knowing how to ask challenging questions in a way that keeps that in a way that actually one of the most important things, as you know, in partnership is taking down the walls that many of us naturally have, whether we admit it or not. Sure. Because when we become more transparent with people, that's how we can really make sure we're complementing those that we may be potential partners with. Yeah. And did you realize as you already had those skills, so when you went through Recruit Select, career visioning, those, I would say some of the core classes that we have from a leadership perspective here at Keller Williams, like did you realize how much this was going to translate to your future business or I did not. Were you aware of it, or did it just come? I didn't realize it at first. In fact, I went, gosh, why did I spend all of that time and money going to school after school after school to realize that I'm getting into real estate and I don't need any of those degrees that I have, and then quickly realize that this is just a relationship business. Yeah. Being a therapist is a relationship business. It's getting people to trust you so that they will partner with you in whatever area that it is. Yeah. And so I quickly realized, although I did not intentionally, I quickly realized that, oh, hey, maybe all those years of schooling actually did translate well. And the years of schooling are great, but it's really the real life where one learns how to succeed through others and partner quickly. Can only experience so much from the book. That's right. Yeah. So, all right. So you move over, you familiarize yourself with the MREA, Recruit Select at the time, all this stuff.
how did you start? How quick did you start implementing some of this stuff, and what did it do to your business? And
I implemented MREA pretty quickly. Like within the first year of me being here, I implemented. And of course, which is kind of status quo for me, I never just do one thing at any time. So I was not even here a year and heard that this guy named John was coming to St. Louis to open another market center. And I said, well, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And he said, well, show me you have influence. And I said, how do I do that? And he said, get me appointments with top agents so we can talk to him about opening a market center. I went, okay.
Yeah.
So then started that. So I tend to add more things to my plate as I continue to grow, which is a common affliction of people who do a lot of things is they get bored.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, is that part of it? Like you just get bored and you need something else, or?
I love to build.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love to build. And David, one of the reasons why I moved from just doing production and growing the team to leadership is because what I realized, I mean, my background is helping people.
Yeah.
I realized if I'm selling 100 homes a year, I get to help 100 people.
Right.
If I move into the recruiting realm and I get into business with people who are doing 10, 15, 50, 100 transactions themselves, like the potential for impact is exponential.
For sure.
And so that desire to build and that desire to help more and more people is kind of creates this insatiable appetite in me that I just had to keep feeding, much to probably my family's chagrin over the years. And every time I would embark on a new endeavor, I feel like I learned some. I fell on my face hard. And those can be some of the best learning experiences.
Amen.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned we started with 3 kids under 2.
Yeah.
So you've built a huge business. So how did you, a lot of times I hear this, right? Like balance is this like myth out there that everyone is chasing to an extent. So how did you find the ability to navigate through this while obviously being the mom that you are and all that?
So partnering with the right people was a really big part of it.
Yeah.
It was a very big part of it. Now, I will be totally honest and transparent. Did I always do it well from the personal life standpoint? Absolutely not.
Sure.
And my story, but the twins were a huge surprise 25 years ago when I found out I was having them. And then 3 years later, the actual bigger surprise came when both of my twins were diagnosed with autism. And so that opened up a whole nother like, oh my gosh, like where's the parenting book that says, oh, here's how to have 3 kids under 2 years and B, have 2 of them with special needs.
Yeah.
I have still yet to find that book.
Right.
That became much more life experience.
Right.
So finding that balance was very, very challenging. I became, for the first couple of years after the twins got diagnosed, I was in what I would probably call, not denial, because I was very open about the fact that the twins were autistic, but I didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
So I spent a lot of time apologizing for what I call their quirks or their oddities that made other people feel uncomfortable.
Sure.
Like stimming and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And when the twins were 5, I don't even remember what it was, but something triggered in me that said, oh my gosh, I am never going to apologize for these boys again. They are the greatest gift that God could have ever given me.
That's awesome.
Talk about being able to look at life through a lens that is not what I had originally anticipated. And of course, my daughter is 2 years older than the twins. So I then became a huge advocate for inclusion, for early detection and education, through ownership and just embracing when you have loved ones with special abilities. And that actually opened up a whole nother world with zero intention of doing this.
Sure.
It became, how do I best help my children and those who have loved ones that have special abilities?
Right.
Well, what that translated to was a whole nother avenue in opening up my business, because I became very connected with different organizations like Best Buddy, which is an international organization for inclusion for those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It allowed me to really connect with people in crowds in a very different way. I love teaching. I love sharing. I love giving back. And I typically end up in some way, shape, or form when I'm in front of a room incorporating my why or incorporating kind of my backstory to help people understand that there are paths for support when you have loved ones. And typically when I'm in a good sized room, by the time I'm done kind of telling that story, there's usually about 25% of the room that is either in tears or comes up to me afterwards and said, oh my God, my daughter, my grandson, my whomever, I didn't realize there were these other avenues for help and support. So it became another way for me to help more people and also say, there is nothing in your world that is holding you back from succeeding besides your mindset and who you surround yourself with.
Amen. And it's interesting because as I'm listening to this, it's like you said earlier, right? Like you want to help and build.
Yes.
And I feel like that's really your business. Real estate is just the product.
Absolutely.
But whether it was to come to terms when the boys were 5 and then you start helping, like it opened up a whole different. So I feel like it sounds to me like it was kind of a note to self, I guess. Like if you get stuck, I need to find a way for you to help somebody else.
Yes.
Right? I mean, I feel like that's what drives everything. I feel like if you get uncomfortable while helping, you won't be uncomfortable.
That's right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. So as you're building the team, you've built market centers, you have leadership opportunity within the market centers, all this stuff. So what are some of the biggest leadership lessons you've encountered? Like what are things that you're like, this was a great aha moment that I need to keep this in my back pocket and be able to share this with others, or like what are some teachable moments along the journey that you've experienced that spoke to you?
2 that jump out to me as you asked that question. One is say yes to the conversation.
Oh, I love that.
Let me explain what I mean by that. So many people go, I'm too busy. I don't have time. I don't need that. And they just shut off whatever it is. Now, no one has time to say yes to all conversations. Sure. It is be open to everything, question everything, be willing to say, you know what? I've got this, and this that seems to be going right. Maybe there is a better way out there. And if you don't have the conversation, you don't know. Yeah. So the second lesson that I would say to couple with say yes to the conversation is, as one looks at growing and is committed to growth and has success in doing so, there's going to be more and more naysayers around them. Yeah. You don't need that. David, don't do that. It's a waste of your time. You're already so successful. This is ridiculous. Right. One of the greatest pieces of advice that I got from a previous leader was, the more successful you get, the more people will be around you saying you don't need to do it. The first thing you should do is go to their track record. And if they have not done at least what you have done, if not more, why in the world would you ever listen to them? Yeah. So that's lesson number 2. Now take that back to lesson number 1, which is say yes to the conversation. Who's asking for the conversation? What is their track record? Does it seem to be like that person has had success? I would be remiss to not go sit down with that person and learn something. There is a book that I was introduced to probably 7 or 8 years ago now, and it's called When God Winks at You. Oh. And it's a book about coincidences. Okay. And it says, most of us go through life and go, oh, that's a coincidence. 75% of the time, people just do that and move right on. If they were to slow down and go, is there a reason why that coincidence came into my life? How many more doors could be opened for us? Yeah. Here's the thing to understand about, and the When God Winks at You, it's a small, thin book, and it is one of the best books I've ever been introduced to because it also gives perspective on the fact that a God wink can be positive in the moment, and it can be what appears to be negative in the moment. Appears to be, right? Yeah. Like when my twins were diagnosed with autism, I thought, oh my gosh, literally, this is going to sound so drama. However, this is exactly what happened. Yeah. The first one was diagnosed, and then about 3 or 4 months later, the second one was diagnosed. And when we got home from the pediatric neurologist for the second twin, I literally fell to my kitchen floor and screamed at God and said, why did you do this to me? And I cried and I yelled and I was mad and all of that. Yeah. So, and that's literally what happened. So at the time, I felt like my life was over. How am I going to do this? Yeah. Everything's derailed. Yet the greatest gift God could have ever given me. Yeah. So when something even horrible happens in our life, that too could be a God wink. Yeah. The ability to reframe things is not something that is as common as it should be. Yes. That's for sure. Yeah. It's funny, I listened to this, and my sister is blessed with identical twins who are healthy. And I remember when she found out she was having twins, and she actually called me crying.
And I'm like, well, why are you crying? Because I think it was around the first time she had her first ultrasound or whatever.
Okay.
And she found out there was 2. And she's bawling on the phone. So I'm thinking something happened, like maybe the pregnancy end or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Why are you crying like this? She goes, there's 2. And I'm like, well, at least you got 7 months to figure it out.
There's her early detection.
So she didn't think it was that funny. But anyway, 9-10 years later now, I guess everybody's good. So, but it's for sure a curveball, I would assume.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So fast forward to kind of today, the last 5 years. We'll go like post-pandemic, if you will.
Okay.
You've done a lot of stuff. You were with Livian for a bit. Now you're with Place.
Yeah.
What's the last 5 years have been from a growth perspective and a business perspective? Because the interesting thing to me as I look is you've grown a ton, but yet there's really nothing from a industry or market perspective that would suggest that people should have grown to the extent you have over the last few years, right? Yes. So what have you done differently? What was the approach? Tell us how that last 5 years, I guess, of
David, I would say the key to answering that question is the people with whom I've been blessed to get into business. So my business partner is Tom Bosler.
Mm-hmm.
We brought our businesses together 10.5 years ago. And when we did, literally everyone said, don't do it.
I was just about to say, you just mentioned naysayer earlier, and I remember when you guys did that. And partnerships are not known to be successful really in our industry, right?
Correct.
There's very few that I know of. You guys are one of them. So that's actually now that you mention it, like how'd you guys kind of power through it? Because you're right. I remember like this ain't gonna work. Like what's happening? Like
some of the best of the best in this industry.
Yeah.
Who have been leaders who said, don't do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
And there are a multitude of carnage in a path of those who have attempted.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. Yeah. So why has mine and Tom's partnership been so successful? So first of all, you know my background. Tom's an engineer by nature.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was an engineer before he got into real estate. So
that explains a lot.
Very different, very much so.
Love you, Tom. Just a lot of things are clicking right now. I got it.
It's why we have such great partners because our personalities are very different.
Yeah.
Yet our values and our hearts and the way we think about things are very, very aligned.
Right.
And that was really important. So depending on what the missing who is in someone's world, sometimes it is someone who is very opposite of who you are when we tend to be attracted naturally to those who are like us.
Sure.
So getting in business with Tom 10.5 years ago was a major game changer because we became the yin to each other's yang.
Yeah.
And part of our success is our ability to be very honest with each other. First of all, we have lanes. Mm-hmm. Like his lane, we do not parallel play next to one another.
Okay.
His lane is this, my lane is this, and we've been very clear about that. Yeah. Secondly, we had a coach shortly after we partnered that said to us, because we were kind of doing that like, the first year to 2 years together, like, well, I did more of this one, and I did. One of the reasons partnerships don't work out is because the minute that someone feels like I'm doing 51% and you're 49, like this doesn't work.
That's right.
So our coach came to us after we were both kind of having some like, hey, what about? And he said, you guys partnered together because you said you trusted each other, correct? Yes. He said, then you have to stop keeping track.
You have to start trusting.
You guys trusted each other, which is why you partnered. If you continue to keep track, this is never going to work. Yeah. You have to have faith that when you do your thing, he does his thing, that it is going to pan out in the end. And that is, and we embraced that.
What a great
And we stopped tallying from that day on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a really, really big, important part. And David, we have had some really hard, direct conversations, which do not feel good. I mean, if he was sitting here, he would tell you right now, there was we
may have to do a volume.
Oh, he was going through a really hard personal time in his life.
Sure.
And I said, for the sake of recording, I'll leave out some of the words, but I said to him, it got so bad and just what he was, and I said, I don't even want to be around you.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask that you leave here because you cannot show up here and lead this team when I don't even want to be around you.
Right.
And he said it hit him that day was like, whoa. oh my gosh, he didn't even realize where he had, right? But that was a really hard conversation that most people would not be comfortable having. But we have never held back from each other in being honest.
But you know what? On the flip side, I would say if you're not willing to have that conversation, I would argue I'm not sure you have a partnership.
I agree with you completely.
Right? I mean, that's the point. Like, I think sometimes you hear these like challenge that people have around accountability or whatever, a hard conversation. And I always say when I teach CV, if you have somebody that cares enough about holding you accountable, you should high five them even if you don't agree with it.
Absolutely.
And I think this is the perfect example of caring about your partner and said, hey, I'm going to say it. You need to get your head out of your ass because this is not helping.
Yes.
And we partner up for a reason. And you know, and I think that's in fact, that is lacking at such a high level right now because everybody's we got to take care of everybody's feelings and emotions and all this bullshit.
It's a softer world than when you and I started.
I know. That's I think you're nailing it. This is why you guys have the partnership that because because there are a lot of people that are able to give it, very few are able to receive it, right? So if you find an environment where like when you need to give it, it's welcome, and you know when you're gonna have to take it, and you're like, that's fine, I own this. Like then the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing. I mean, you dictate your own ceiling at that point because it doesn't really matter because there's such a high level of trust that is required in order to have a conversation like this.
That's right.
That when the conversation is over, like it's over, like we can all move on and have a glass of wine, beer, shot, whatever. It's over. Like we've done it. Like we've talked about it. Like no one goes home like hanging on to shit and all this stuff. Like it's done and it's over.
That's right.
And when you have that, then
agreed.
The only thing in the way is you basically at that point.
Okay, so how does the only thing in the way is you. So how does one get out of one's own way? One of the things that I've also been very, very committed to doing, and I've been blessed to have some really, really high level partners over the last decade plus, is I am a consummate requester of feedback. So what I mean by that is when I was with Livian, so Adam Hergenrother was the CEO and I was part of the executive team, and I would always ask Adam, hey, I'm doing this. If you have feedback, please share it. Hey, and now being partnered with Ben and Chris, and our VP of growth is Nikki Miller. And I say, like, here's what I'm doing. I would love your feedback. Mm-hmm. Would you please share with me how I can grow and how I can get better? So I am always looking to go, okay, I've got a track record of doing some things, and there's always room for an improvement, and I welcome it. I want it.
That's and the key part to what you're saying is not so much what you're saying, but it's the authenticity behind how you're saying it. Like you feel like that it's true. Like I really want feedback. I really want. Like, tell me honestly, like how am I doing or whatever. And a lot of times people will throw that out there, hoping that no one says anything. And they're doing it just to check the box. Well, I asked for feedback. No one's giving it to me, and then, it's...
David, because you're in business with some really high-level people.
Yeah.
When you ask high-level people for feedback, they're going to give it to you.
Yeah.
And I'm not...
And if you don't want it from them, don't
ask. Because they're going to... And there have been times where I'm like, oh, that does not feel good.
Yeah.
And sometimes I find myself internally feeling defensive.
Yeah.
Yet I go, hey, I'm the one who asked for it. They just gave me what I asked for.
Yeah.
And I get better because I asked for it and I will receive it.
Yeah.
I sometimes have to go home and digest it and go, whew, that didn't feel good.
Yeah.
But yet I know I'm getting better from it.
And that's okay. Like, it's not like you have to have a party every time you get, but and it's okay to say, hey, this one, I took it on the chin, but you have to remember the intent behind it. And as long as people are clear on the intent, then, like I said, the sky's the limit, I guess, right?
Yes.
All right. So looking back at your younger self, what are like 3 piece of advice you would give yourself that not necessarily change? Because I don't know. I'm saying that because sometimes people ask me like, what would you change? And I don't know if I would change anything. But what are things that maybe you like, like, hey, keep an eye out for this, or make sure you do this, or make sure you do that? What are some advice you would give to like your younger self that you would have liked to have maybe?
I was too married to the outcome for too long. When there is not a system around accountability, around getting into business with the right people, around fill in the blank.
Yeah.
When there is not a system, and when there is not the right accountability around it, we can fall short to being just human and being too married to the outcome.
Yeah.
So yesterday, actually, on a place training, so Ben Kinney, our leader, co-founder, does a session every Monday for the operators, rainmakers. And it was 6 reasons why we make bad decisions. And one of them is, oh my gosh, what was it? Basically, you look for the answers that prove that you're right.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank on the exact name of that one.
Yeah.
So I was, for too long, you get too married to being like, well, I'm making this decision because, and then another one is a sunk cost fallacy. Like, I've already invested so much time in this person that I need to keep doing it. I already invested so much in this. So we make bad decisions because we look for things that validate the way that we already think. We hold on to things for too long. We have recency. We fall subject to recency, like, oh gosh, well, I did this, and this well, so that means I can automatically do this and this. So it was a really great training on the 6 reasons why we make bad decisions. So what would I tell my younger self? One of the things is be more aware of what those reasons are, and then put stopgaps in place to prevent yourself from doing it.
Okay.
Sometimes the best way to do that is have a coach.
Yeah.
Have a business partner, and whether it's someone like Tom and I, or just other people that you trust in the industry that will tell you exactly what you need to hear, whether you want to hear it or not.
Right.
And when you have those things in place, it can open up one's eyes to saying, okay, I'm not married to what happens with this outcome.
Right.
Because that is just, we hold on to too much that we shouldn't.
What I hear here is, I don't think that's uncommon, especially in our industry, right, where people are very much married to the outcome. Like they skip the entire process, and if the outcome is there, somehow they feel like they're winning.
Yes.
Right. And I'm always saying, like, if you don't understand the process and you're winning temporarily. Like, you're on the clock. Like, at some point, this is going to fall apart because you don't even know how you got there. So you can't duplicate it. So I think the way I'm hearing you saying this is, like, basically kind of embrace and master the process so you can get the outcome that you're looking for.
That's right.
Is that fair?
And the process can be also, there's models and systems process, and then it's also who you're going to have around you that is going to be a trusted source.
Yeah. Love it. What advice would you give someone getting into business? Not to yourself, but someone like, hey, I want to do this. I want to be you in whatever. Yeah. What would you tell them? So
another piece of advice, and especially in the instance of that question, is to please stay humble.
Yeah.
So many people get so wrapped up in their own hype that they lose humility.
Yeah.
And it's one of the biggest mistakes I think people can make, because they have these blinders.
Yeah.
Their mind does not stay open.
Some people have blinders that are like this long.
That's right. And they actually limit their world when they become so bought into their own story that they just won't be receptive to the fact that things can be done differently, and that there are those who have gone before them that could make their journey that much more expeditious and more efficient and more profitable.
Yeah.
So stay humble.
Yeah, stay humble. I can't say that loud enough. Well, this is awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I appreciate you. I hope you guys got a pen and a paper and hit rewind a few times. There's a ton of nuggets here to learn. So appreciate you all, and I'll see you again sometime soon.